to...
Hey everybody, I'm Abraham Lincoln. Just kidding, I'm Rob Booker, and this is a tour around Metatrader. And right now, we're going to talk about indicators. One of my favorite lessons. We're really getting into the nitty-gritty here. Here's our Metatrader platform, and what we want to do is zoom into this section right here. Let's say you're looking at the British pound or whatever else, and you want to get some insight into the market by using an indicator. Well, I'm going to show you how to do that, and I'm going to explain what an indicator is. You want to click on Insert, Indicators, and you're going to get a list of the indicators that start with the letter A to begin with. I have no idea why that is. And then you're going to get a list of indicators sorted by trend indicators, oscillators, which show overbought and oversold conditions, volume indicators, Bill Williams's indicator, so he's that famous. He gets his own, he gets his own list right there. And then custom indicators, which could include indicators that you've loaded into the charts that Metatrader calls outside the scope of regular type of indicators, or everything else. What I want to do here, because we're going to use it later on, is choose oscillators and relative strength index. What that will do is pop up a box that says relative strength index, and it will give you a parameters tab, which lets you change the style color, apply it to the closing price, the period number that you want to use it for, the shape of the lines and the weight of the lines. So you can change colors and so forth. Now I'm going to kind of give you an overview of the relative strength index, and then I'm going to look at even another one. Every single indicator is going to have a period or a number associated with it. Sometimes it's going to be in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. And every indicator is different. So if you want to learn about individual indicators and what they mean, you can refer to Investopedia or Chart School or other locations online. But this is your settings box. You'll also be able to choose levels on certain indicators like oscillators. Oscillators measure overbought and oversold conditions. Or in other words, they tell you when the market has moved up a long way or down a long way. The levels at which it's overbought or oversold might be listed in a levels box. Visualization tells Metatrader to show the indicator on all the time frame charts, or maybe just a few of them. So if you switch to a different time frame chart, it might eliminate the indicator. If I click OK, what Metatrader will then do is it will pop open a box somewhere on the chart, or items right on the chart depending on the indicator, and it will show you that indicator in the lower panel. You can change the color of the indicator to match the background of your charts or anything else that you want to do. You're going to be in complete control of that. So right here with the relative strength index on the screen, I just want to talk a minute about what all of this means and what an indicator is good for and whatever else. An indicator is simply a way for you to get some more information about what's happening with price. Some people say that indicators are garbage or you should trade without indicators. That's generally referred to as naked trading, where you're just looking at price and you're not looking at any other indicators. Indicators are always formulated from price. So Nate, for instance, price has been moving over a certain period of time, and it's been moving up quickly or not up very quickly or down quickly or up slowly or sideways or whatever else. And an indicator, every single indicator, will be built from some kind of equation. Indicators have some pretty complicated equations. Sometimes they'll say the last 21 periods times some kind of number that the inventor of the indicator decided to use, divided by the 1.314 pi quadratic equation, divided by the E equals MC squared, or some crazy stuff like that. And when you look up online, you'll see all kinds of different formulas for indicators and whatnot. And those formulas maybe are interesting to you, maybe they're not. But all an indicator is really going to do is it's going to show you something, some information about price. This is the relative strength index. The relative strength index is designed to show you when the market has moved up a lot, generally referred to as overbought, or when it has moved down a lot, generally referred to as oversold. And that's an oscillator. Other oscillators that you can find on your charts will include the average true range, the commodity channel index, the MACD, M-A-C-D, the momentum indicator, which we'll use in just a moment, or the very famous stochastic oscillator. We'll also look at that in a moment. The momentum indicator is a judge or a measure. Can you see that pretty well, Nate?
Sure can.
It's a measure of how quickly the market or how much momentum is behind upward and downward movements. You can change the period for the momentum indicator and the colors, and all it's going to do is put another indicator at the bottom of your screen. Maybe you have decided that you don't want that there anymore. We can go to Charts, Charts, Indicator List, and we can choose our indicator, and then we can delete it. Other indicators display themselves actually on price or on the charts. If you click Insert, Indicators, we might choose Trend and find something like Bollinger Bands. Bollinger Bands were created by John Bollinger, and he's really famous for having done it. And Bollinger Bands put an envelope around price. I'm not here to describe to you why the Bollinger Bands are good or bad, but once we put those on the screen, Nate, you can even use the zoomed in version. You could see this envelope traveling with price. So that's just showing you the normal distribution, or how likely it is that price will stay within these bands. When price gets wild, the bands expand, and when price gets really quiet, the bands contract. Now, there are just so many indicators that you can play with. Some of the major ones are called oscillators, and these simply measure, as I mentioned, overbought and oversold indications. And every oscillator has sort of a most famous setting that most people use. The colors on this oscillator are all jacked up, so I might right-click on Oscillator, on the lines, choose the properties, and pull that back up, and choose colors. And I might say, well, I want to choose colors that I can see more easily, and I want to choose a thickness in the line that I can see more easily. And now I can see that oscillator at the bottom of my screen more easily. Now, this is another oscillator, which means it's going to show when price has gone maybe up too far or down too far, overbought and oversold. Why do people use indicators, and how many indicators are useful on your charts? Well, that's going to be totally up to you. But trading systems are built, yet generally speaking, with indicators. A guru or a teacher or a creator of indicators will build or use a set of indicators in conjunction with one another. For example, a guru or a teacher might say, when price reaches the bottom of the Bollinger Bands, and also the stochastic oscillator hits the oversold levels, that's an extreme level, and I want to buy when it hits that. And so they may sit in front of their charts on a 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 minute, whatever, and wait for that to happen. And when that happens, then they might go ahead, place a buy trade in the system, and they might say, well, I'm going to place a buy trade, and I'm going to watch the charts, and I'm going to wait for the oscillator, the stochastic oscillator indicator, to go into overbought territory, and then I'm going to close that buy trade out and get rid of that trade because I think that that move is over. Indicators are simply a way to display information on the screen different than price, but created from price, that gives you an idea of what might happen next or what you might want to do. And I would encourage you, as a challenge or an assignment after this, to go to your Insert Indicators menu and play around in here and see all the different things that Metatrader has in store for you. Play with them, use them, put them on the screen, and see if they mean anything to you. One little nugget of wisdom is you could look for areas where you wish you could have bought or sold. Wow, if I could have sold up here, that would have been great. And you can start to play with indicators to see what indicators may have given you the information necessary to place a sell trade up there. And then you could move backwards in time on your charts. And you could say, well, there's another one of those places where those sets of indicators worked in conjunction with one another, and that would be a trade. And you can move backwards in time and see how your theoretical set of combination of indicators would have worked together to help you make trading decisions. When we come back, I want to show you a little trick that I do with indicators to slow them down, make them more valid or useful, and do some things that most people would never think about doing. And that's when we come back. I want to thank our sponsor, Forest Park FX. If you're interested in FX trading, contact Forest Park FX to open an account and get cashback rebates on every trade you place. Go to forestparkfx.com. Forex trading carries a significant risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Terms and conditions will apply. I'll see you in the next video.